Welcome to the AI Vibe Deep Dive. This week, we're really digging into something big, the breakneck speed of AI evolution in software engineering. We're focusing especially on what this means for you, the leaders and builders out there.
Exactly. Think of this as your fast track to understanding the really crucial shifts happening right now in AI-powered coding.
Our mission today, to unpack OpenAI's massive move acquiring Windsurf. We're talking a reported $3 billion. Why did they do it? And what does this mean for the future?
It's a huge question. OpenAI, mostly known for models, right? Suddenly buying an IDE. We need to look at what this signals for coding, for AI tools, for everyone involved in building software.
Right. We've synthesized the latest analysis on this OpenAI Windsurf deal, plus what's happening across the AI coding assistant landscape to give you the core insights.
And that hook you mentioned. $3 billion for Windsurf, which, started as Codeium. It really makes you stop and think.
It does. Why go after an IDE specifically? What's the ripple effect going to be?
Well, it seems less surprising when you look at Windsurf's journey and OpenAI's broader strategy. It starts to make a lot of sense.
Okay, before we dive deeper, just a quick reminder, join the conversation and get more insights with the Vibe Tribe over at vibetribe-ai.com. That's powered by Escher-AI.com.
And if you really want the big picture on navigating AI, check out E.F. Boyle's book, Writing the AI Tsunami. Highly recommended.
Definitely. Okay, let's rewind. Windsurf, where did it come from?
So it actually started back in 2021 as a company called Exafunction, founded by some MIT grads, Varun Mohan and Douglas Chen.
Exafunction. Okay, not Windsurf yet. And they weren't doing developer tools initially.
Not at all. Their first focus was, believe it or not, optimizing GPUs for deep learning. Think autonomous vehicles, AR, VR stuff, very technical, very infrastructure focused.
So GPU optimization. Mohan had experience at Neuro, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. And they were doing well.
Yeah, reports say they were actually profitable, even with a pretty small team. They knew their stuff in that deep learning space.
Okay, so a profitable company, raised $28 million, and then they just pivot. Almost overnight in mid-2022. Why shift to AI developer tools?
Well, the leadership there clearly saw the writing on the wall. Generative AI was exploding, right?
Right.
And maybe optimizing the infrastructure wasn't going to be the unique value prop long term. So they made a really bold strategic jump straight to the application layer, aiming to put AI directly in developers' hands.
And that led to Codeium, the free tool.
Exactly. Codeium was born from that pivot.
Yeah.
And it took off like wildfire.
How fast are we talking?
Well, by early 2025, reports suggest something like 800,000 developers were using it, over 1,000 enterprise customers, two big names like Zillow, Dell.
Wow.
Yeah, and processing, get this, over 100 billion code tokens daily across like 70+ languages. It just shows the massive appetite for this kind of AI help.
Okay, huge adoption. Then Windsurf itself arrives in November 2024. What was the upgrade from Codeium?
Windsurf was the full vision, an IDE built from the ground up, well, sort of, with AI baked in, not just code completion, but an entire environment. It even had features like using verbal instructions, literally talking to your IDE.
You're talking to your IDE. Okay, that's definitely next level.
And it had proper enterprise support built in, too.
Makes sense. And the funding kept rolling in.
Oh, yeah. A $65 million Series B early in 2024, valuing them at $500 million. Then just a few months later, August 2024, another $150 million Series C. Valuation jumped to $1.25 billion. Kleiner Perkins, General Catalyst, Green Oak, serious investors were betting big.
And you mentioned OpenAI basically paid what the market thought they were worth anyway.
It looks that way. Windsurf was reportedly talking about another round at a $3 billion valuation, and boom, OpenAI steps in at that exact number. It suggests OpenAI wasn't necessarily overpaying by market standards, just meeting the high expectation.
Now, the technical side you hinted at, they didn't build it all from scratch. They used Microsoft's VS Code.
Yes, and this was honestly a genius move. They forked VS Code, Microsoft's open source IDE.
Why was that so important?
Think about it. VS Code is incredibly popular. Developers already know it. They're comfortable with it. So Windsurf didn't have that huge barrier of convincing people to learn a totally new tool.
So they got the familiar interface for free, basically.
Pretty much. It let them pour all their energy into the unique AI features, the stuff that made Windsurf special. It massively accelerated their progress. It's a great example of leveraging open source, really.
Okay, that's a compelling story for Windsurf. Now, back to OpenAI. Why buy this? Why spend $3 billion to own an IDE? What's the core strategy?
Right. The big why. It really looks like OpenAI wants to move up the stack. They've mastered the foundational models, GPT, Codex, all of that.
Yeah, the engines.
Exactly. But owning the IDE, owning Windsurf, means they control the entire developer experience, not just the engine, but the car, the dashboard, everything the developer interacts with.
Okay, so it's about owning the interaction layer, not just providing the smarts underneath.
Precisely. And think about the market. That AI development tool space is projected to be, $68 billion by 2029.
Huge. Building a top-tier AI-native IDE from zero, that takes years, tons of resources. Buying Windsurf, it's an instant, major foothold. They accelerate their entry dramatically.
It's a buy versus build decision, and they chose buy for speed. Makes sense. What else did they get besides the platform?
Oh, crucial stuff. The talent, obviously. The Windsurf team knows how to build these tools, especially for enterprises. But maybe even more valuable, the data.
The data.
Yeah, think about it. They now get direct insight into how hundreds of thousands of developers actually use AI for coding. What prompts work? What suggestions get accepted or rejected? What are the common workflows?
Real-world usage data to train their models even better.
Exactly. It's like a massive ongoing feedback loop to make their AI coding assistants way more powerful and, context-aware, maybe even personalized down the line.
And this puts them head-to-head with some giants, doesn't it? GitHub Copilot, which uses their own models, ironically. Right, and Amazon Q, Google Gemini. The list goes on. This acquisition signals OpenAI isn't content just being the engine provider anymore. They want to be a direct competitor in the tool space itself.
Less reliance on partners like Microsoft for distribution.
Seems like it. And remember, they were reportedly interested in buying Cursor, too. It really points towards a clear IDE strategy.
Windsurf also brought enterprise clients like Dell and JPMorgan Chase. That must help OpenAI's ambitions.
Absolutely. It's a ready-made entry point into large organizations. They can leverage those existing relationships with Windsurf to deploy their broader AI coding solutions much faster. It smooths the path for enterprise adoption significantly.
You also mentioned agentic development, this idea of AI doing more complex tasks. How does Windsurf fit there? They had something called Cascade.
Yes, Cascade. It aligns perfectly with OpenAI's long-term vision. The goal isn't just code suggestions. It's about AI agents that can handle bigger chunks of the development process more autonomously.
Like AI taking on whole features or fixing complex bugs.
Potentially, yeah. Owning the IDE gives OpenAI the perfect sandbox to build, test, and roll out these more advanced agentic capabilities. It's a platform for realizing that future vision of, democratizing development.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Microsoft. Billions invested in OpenAI, but now OpenAI is competing directly with GitHub Copilot, built on VS Code, which Microsoft open-sourced. That's complicated.
Yeah, complicated is an understatement. It's pure co-opetition. Microsoft benefits hugely from OpenAI's models powering Copilot. But now OpenAI's Windsurf is a direct rival.
And Microsoft enabling its own competitor by open-sourcing VS Code.
It's ironic, isn't it? It shows the power and maybe the peril of open source in such a fast-moving field. Good for innovation, but creates unexpected competitors. How this impacts the OpenAI-Microsoft relationship long-term.
Well, that's a fascinating question.
Definitely one to watch. So with OpenAI making this big splash, how are the other players responding? What about Anthropic with Claude? Anthropic's taking a slightly different path. They're really leaning into their strengths, AI safety, constitutional AI, that sort of thing. Their Claude code is interesting. It's more of a terminal-based assistant.
Terminal-based, so in the command line.
Yeah. The idea is deep integration into existing workflows. You use natural language in the terminal to edit files, debug, run tests, handle DIT. It tries to understand the whole project's context. They're pushing agentic coding too, but with a focus on workflow integration like subagents, test-driven development support.
So less about a full IDE, more about enhancing the terminal workflow with AI.
Kind of, yeah. And they emphasize enterprise support through platforms like Amazon Bedrock and Google Vertex AI. Developers seem to rate Claude highly for certain coding tasks, especially complex reasoning.
Okay, what about Apple? Xcode historically felt a bit behind on the AI front.
That's been the perception, yes. Xcode had basic prediction, mainly for Swift and Apple's own stuff. They seemed slower on generative AI. There were rumors of an internal tool, Swift Assist, that never really launched broadly.
But you said things are shifting.
It looks like it. Recent reports point to a major strategic partnership with, guess who? Anthropic.
Apple partnering with Anthropic.
For Xcode.
Seems so. The idea is to integrate Claude Sonnet right into Xcode. leveraging Claude's natural language power to enable, well, vibe coding within the Apple ecosystem, using natural language to write, edit, test code.
So Apple's strategy is partnership, not building their own foundational model for coding.
It appears that way, partnering to bring that next-level AI interaction to their developers, which is a pretty significant move for them.
Interesting. Okay, quick rundown of other key players. Copilot, Amazon Q, Google Gemini.
Sure. GitHub Copilot, obviously still dominant, tightly knit with VS Code, powered by OpenAI tech. Amazon Q developers really focus on the enterprise security. AWS integration are key selling points.
Google's Gemini Code Assist integrates with their cloud and IDEs, and they make a point of citing sources for code suggestions, which is interesting. Tab9 carves out a niche focusing hard on privacy, offering local models. And Replit is big in the browser-based IDE space with its AI ghostwriter, especially popular for learning and collaboration.
It's a crowded field. So zooming out, what does all this activity mean for the future of software development? What are the big implications?
Well, first off, expect developer productivity to keep climbing. This vibe coding, using natural language, more intelligent assistants, it's going to get better and more common.
Which probably changes the developer role itself.
Absolutely. It likely shifts more towards higher-level thinking, system architecture, strategic code reviews, becoming really good at prompting and guiding these AI tools. Less time on boilerplate, more on design and oversight.
And the rise of those AI agents you mentioned.
Yeah, we'll see AI taking on bigger pieces of the software development lifecycle. More complex tasks, more autonomy. This could democratize development, making sophisticated capabilities accessible to more people.
But there are challenges too, right?
Oh, definitely. Huge ones. Code quality generated by AI, security vulnerabilities, long-term maintainability, model biases creeping in, intellectual property concerns, vendor lock-in, ethical considerations. We need robust verification frameworks.
And does it lower the barrier to entry or just create a different kind of skill gap?
Both, probably. It might be easier to start coding, but effectively collaborating with AI, understanding its limitations, ensuring quality, those become the crucial new skills.
So specifically for Windsurf, what do we think OpenAI plans to do with it based on what they've hinted?
Well, deepening the GPT integration seems like a no-brainer. Expect tight coupling with their latest models, maybe exclusive features you only get in Windsurf.
Makes sense.
They'll definitely push hard on enterprise adoption, leveraging those existing Windsurf clients and enhancing features for security, compliance, team stuff. Prioritizing that cascade agent technology for more autonomous development is almost certain.
What about supporting other AI models? Will it stay neutral?
That's the million-dollar or maybe billion-dollar question. Will they keep Windsurf open to other LLMs or optimize purely for OpenAI models? That's a big strategic choice. And of course, they'll be using all that new user interaction data to make their core models even better.
Okay, last big question then. Cursor has a lot of loyal users in the AI IDE space. Can OpenAI's Windsurf actually catch up?
It's a great question. Look, OpenAI wanting to buy Cursor tells you they see its value in traction.
Right.
Now, does Windsurf have the potential to catch up? With OpenAI's money, direct access to state-of-the-art models, the combined talent pool, those enterprise links, even the VS Code Foundation. Yes, the potential is definitely there.
But it's not a guaranteed win.
Not at all. Integrating everything smoothly is complex. They need to keep innovating incredibly fast. They need to balance OpenAI's goals with what Windsurf users want. And user loyalty is sticky. Developers might just prefer Cursor.
So challenges remain.
For sure.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this intense competition, it's probably great news for developers like you. More choice, more innovation, more powerful tools heading your way.
So wrapping this up, OpenAI buying Windsurf isn't just another acquisition. It's a major strategic realignment. They're gunning for the entire AI developer experience.
Exactly. It's heating up the competition significantly and promises some really fundamental changes in how we all build software.
Hopefully this deep dive helps you, whether you're leading a tech team or coding on the front lines. Understand these critical shifts and what they might mean for your work.
Yeah, the landscape's changing fast.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With AI weaving itself so tightly into coding, what skills will make human developers truly stand out down the road? Is vibe coding just the start of a totally different relationship with our tools?
That's the core question we all need to be thinking about. Staying informed, staying adaptable, that's key.
Keep exploring these trends and definitely join the conversation over at the Vibe Tribe. That's vibetribe-ai.com, powered by Escher-AI.com.
And for that broader context on the AI wave, don't forget E.F. Boyle's book, Writing the AI Tsunami.
Absolutely. Thanks for diving deep with us today.